Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian, and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Central Europe. I hope everybody is having a great day. Hi Vishnu, hi Abhishek. Welcome Khyber. Good to see you. Patricio, hi Janil and Rajveer. Welcome members. This is a members chat class. Everybody is welcome to watch, of course. We are dealing with the writing task 2 essay right now, and we are talking about writing the body paragraphs, the conclusion, the Band 9 details of that essay. Welcome, Carolina, our moderator. Welcome, everyone. All right, students, this lesson, as usual, is presented to you by aehelp.com. That's academicenglishhelp.com. For academic IELTS success, check us out there. And for general IELTS, visit us at gieltshelp.com. We have lots of aid for your writing, editing services. We have professional proofreaders. Definitely worth it to check out our websites. They look like this. This is our academic IELTS website here with the blue background. You can click that big red button to join our premium package. We are official British Council IELTS Registration Center for Saudi Arabia. And we have British Council agents as well. This is our general IELTS website at gieltshelp.com. Click that big red button to join us there. If you have any questions, send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com, and I will gladly respond to your inquiries. Now, we have task 2 for members, but don't worry if you're not a member and you want to join the chat, you will have a chance in 90 minutes. We will do a task 1 writing with everyone. That will be comparing some pie charts. So lots and lots of writing practice today. And then tomorrow we'll have speaking part 2 and speaking part 3. Okay, let's get into this lesson, members. I definitely want to aim for completing this essay with you. So we'll just quickly review the question and then look at the introduction. That was the homework, right? And then we'll move into the body paragraphs. If you want me to darken or brighten the screen, just let me know. I'll make it a little bit bigger here so that you can really clearly see it. Okay, so this was the question. Again, this was submitted by Khyber. Khyber, thanks for sending this. It's one of the perks of being a member. You can request questions, classes, topics. IELTS Task 2 writing. Many people say that cooking and eating at home is better for the individual and family than eating out in restaurants or canteens. Do you agree or disagree? And we realize this is a closed question. You just pick one side. Ois, I see that you're saying it's good. Thanks for the feedback. I'm guessing for the screen. Good. And so we discussed how to plan. Planning is key, okay? Good execution starts with great planning. That's a kind of a wisdom or a saying that you will often hear people say, professors and teachers. So good execution starts with great planning, okay? And it's very true for essay writing, obviously. So we identified the topic, we identified the controlling ideas, we came up with a thesis statement. And I just want to stop there at the thesis statement. Okay, so this was our thesis statement here, that I strongly believe that making and consuming food at home on a regular basis is better than eating out, as it leads to physical and social well-being for the individual and family. So here is the thesis statement. It has 2 clear points. That one, when we make and eat food at home, we create and maintain a physical and a social quality of life, so quality of being, okay? All right, so then the introduction, that was your homework to finish that. Of course, I wrote the introduction as well. I don't want to show you just yet. I want to give you a chance to share with me and with your peers. So here's your chance. Just start putting up your hook statements, members. So for those of you who finished doing the introduction, did the homework, now's your chance to share. So what was your hook? And it's good to write H and then whatever your hook is, or like Jaineel did, just hook and then whatever your hook is. Okay, remember that the topic here is the best place to consume food regularly and make food regularly. That should be somehow hinted at or included in your hook. Okay. Jaineel says, hook, people always enjoy food for necessity at home or elsewhere. Okay, Jaineel. Yeah, sure. It's to the point. It's a fact. So people enjoy food for necessity at home or elsewhere. So Jaineel, even simpler, food is necessary and often enjoyed either at home or elsewhere. I think that's a bit more natural, Jaineel, that way. Okay. Abhishek says, making and having... Oh, disappeared. Just give me a sec, Abhishek. I'll find you. So, Abhishek says, making and having food is an inevitable task for human. It's not even a task, Abhishek. It's a behavior. Okay? So, making and having food is an inevitable behavior of every human. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's a fact. Sure. So, it's a part of life. Okay. You're kind of hinting at it. You're a little bit broad, Abhishek, but you're hinting at the topic, so it's good. Rajveer says, people are always in the quest to find the best place for cooking and eating. Yeah, I like it, Rajveer. So people are always on a quest. I would say on. We are on a quest, Rajveer. So people are always on a quest for finding the best place for cooking and eating. Yeah, it's tricky prepositions for that context, Rajveer. So one more time. People are always on a quest for finding the best place. Okay? That's the natural English. But great. Otherwise, I love it. I love the idea. Okay? It's true. That brings up a lot of ideas, right, Rajveer? Everybody can agree that we watch cooking shows, we go out to the park and have barbecues, we go to restaurants, we eat at home, we eat at our friend's house. So we eat just about anywhere and everywhere that we can. So on boats, on planes. So we're definitely constantly on this quest for consuming good food in interesting places, for sure. Okay, Kyber says the choice of preparing and consuming food at home has decreased. That sounds like an argument, Kyber. I don't think that makes for a good hook. It's if I read that for a hook, Kyber, then I'm kind of thinking like, what are you trying to tell me? So where are we going for this? I see what you're saying, it. So you're trying to explain to me that the reason for this question is because there's a decreasing trend for eating food at home. But that's because I know the question and because I'm able to assume what you're probably trying to say. You cannot write like that, Kyber. You should never, ever write thinking that the reader will assume the information that you're not telling them. That's very important, okay? And I'm going to actually add that for everyone because that's a common mistake, not just for you, Kyber, but for many students, that they basically leave holes in their communication thinking, oh, everybody knows this, or oh, it's common fact. No, absolutely not. And it's not necessarily true. Restaurants have been popular for quite some time. I actually would think that these days, oftentimes people are eating more at home. So this is an important note, okay? Never assume that your reader will fill in missing or obvious information. And that's tricky. That takes practice because sometimes what happens is then students overstate information or they state information redundantly. The trick is in writing, in good writing. So let's say that this is the start of your essay and this is your finish. Okay, and it's kind of like a staircase. Okay. So your goal as the author is basically to lead your reader logically through a process of ideas and have them very nicely move from start to finish up each stair on the staircase. Okay? That's elegant writing. Now, of course, that's not going to be all of your readers because people think differently, but as long as 95% of your intended audience can make this journey in this way, that's fantastic. Problems happen, and Kyber, I'm taking a moment here because it's a good example that you're showing us there, where students assume that, oh, the reader knows this information. So the writer forgets to include a stair, okay? And here, the reader is lost, okay? That leads to coherence mistakes, and that leads to a task incompletion mistake, and you definitely lose band scores for that, okay? Especially from band 6.5 and higher, where they're not just looking at your knowledge of vocabulary and grammar, but they're looking at your use of language and writing, okay? Especially academic. So you do not want to have gaps like this in your writing, okay? Also, the other problem that often happens with students is they do repetition. So they repeat the same concept exactly the same way in the body paragraph and the conclusion. And so what happens is then the reader is kind of doing this. So you have this start and this finish, and then you have these stairs, and you have the reader doing this. Okay, that's also confusing and not really what you want to do for good writing. So 95% of your audience should ideally be moving systematically from start to finish in a very clear path. Okay? Is that clear, everyone, what I'm explaining here with these stairs? What my goal is? Okay? So don't repeat, but don't leave holes. It takes practice, and this is where reviewing your essays becomes, of course, very important, especially at the university level, okay? But in good writing, that's key. And your readers and your IELTS examiners, they're checking for that, okay? They're definitely looking for that quality of work, all right? Especially in a 300-word essay, okay? So it's one of the very common mistakes that I see when students send us essays is redundant information or missing information. Okay, Kyber, one way to improve that is have your friends review it, peer review. So you pass your essay to a friend and you ask them to read it and you ask them to explain what they're reading. So you give it to your friend and you say, hey, what are you reading here? So Kyber, if you pass me this essay, and it starts with what you just wrote here. Let me read it one more time. The choices of preparing and consuming food at home have been decreasing. And you ask me, what is this essay going to be about? I'm going to tell you it's going to be about the reasons why people don't eat food at home anymore. And then you're going to go, no, that's not what I'm trying to write about. I'm trying to write about where it's better to eat food. Okay? So peer review is good, and of course self-review is good to make sure that that's not happening. Okay, Ali says the place where people eat their food can be more pivotal than they think. Okay, Ali, I like it. I like your idea. So it's important to consider the place where humans consume their food. Yeah. Okay, Ali, so you're kind of, you're somewhat hinting at the background, at the importance of the question, which is okay. You can kind of do that in the hook. I would just word it differently, Ali. So the place where people eat is an important part of living. Okay? I would word it a little bit more naturally, but it's a good idea. It includes the topic. All right? Patricio says the preference between eating at home or eating at another place is different for everybody. Not my favorite, Patricio. It's too broad. It's like I'm not motivated to read the rest of your essay because you're kind of telling me that everybody is entitled to their own opinion. And even though that's true, what happens at this point is I go, yeah, okay, so it's up to me to decide where I want to eat and what I want to eat. So I'll just put this down here. So it's not really catching me as a reader, okay? That's my personal opinion. Somebody else might like that hook, Patricia, but for me, it doesn't do it, okay? Oa says people habits in cooking and eating differ. Some prefer it at home. Others prefer eating out. Okay, it's not bad. Kind of the same as with Patricio, so same idea. All right, so show me your background. Here, I'll show you my hook. Yep. So my hook is really simple. This is all I did for my hook, okay? So again, students, think about simple for your hook, okay? So the ritual. So eating, I'm equating it with the ritual. Because for humans, eating now is much more than simply an instinctual behavior, right? We sit down, we have our chopsticks or our fork and knife, or we use our hands, we have a plate, and we have customs associated with it. So I'm visualizing this and I'm keeping it simple. It includes, of course, the place where I'm eating as well and who I'm eating with. So the ritual of eating food, or of eating, keeping it even more simple, the ritual of eating is of fundamental importance to people. Okay? So I just kind of umbrella the hook as the ritual of eating is very important, right? So the ritual of eating is of fundamental importance to people. Another way I could do it grammatically is the ritual of eating is fundamentally important to people. Okay, might be a little bit even cleaner. All right, give me your background information. Okay, background information. So please put BC if it's your background, or BG is okay as well. All right, Patricia says some would argue that preparing the meal and eating at home is more advantageous for a person and family than going out for food. Patricio, I'm not sure if you were here in yesterday's class. If you missed it, check it out, because some of the planning that we did there, I think, might give you some more information on how you could write your background, okay? Kyber, the importance in the background is simply answering the question yourself, and we do this in the planning of why is it important to discuss talking about the location of preparing and eating food, and we talked about that, so that comes from the preparation, okay, from the planning. Kyber says, with an increasing number of restaurants and canteens compared with the past these days, people and families appreciate ordering and consuming food for its pleasant taste from these places. Okay, Kyber, you keep going now after your hook with that same assumption that your reader has the same ideas as you and is coming from the same experience or background. Careful with that. So you're continuing down that same path. Okay? Ali says, people need to consume food on a daily basis as it is primary source of energy that enables them to conduct their daily activities. Okay, Ali, good. A little bit too broad, okay? You're thinking more about eating than the location of eating and preparing food, okay? So the difference here, I'm going to highlight a difference between Ali and and Khyber. So here's Khyber, and here's Ali, okay? And here's kind of where you want to be between the two of them, okay? So I'm using your information, Ali and Khyber, and thank you for sharing. This is why it's really good to do this, because you learn from it. So Ali is kind of talking about eating. So it's the background to eating in general. Khyber is talking about the reason for debating the question of eating at home in light of the growing popularity of restaurants. Okay, so this is what I'm getting from yours, Khyber, is that you feel that this question is being asked by the IELTS because there seems to be more and more people eating food outdoors from restaurants and ordering food. So they're asking, is it better to do that or is it better to eat at home? Ali is talking about eating in general, so the habit of eating. Okay. Ideally, you want to be somewhere between these two. So this is too detailed, and assuming that the reader will know this, okay? Okay, so too detailed, all right? And this is too general. So as a good writer, your goal is to find that happy middle ground and answer the question accurately, okay? So the question that we're trying to answer here is the better place to eat and make food, at home or at a restaurant. Okay, and again, to figure this out, Khyber had a good question. How do I know this? You need to do peer review. So you should take your essay and you should have your friends read it, your classmates read it, your teacher read it, and people should give you feedback. And you should always ask them the question, what are the questions I'm trying to answer? What is the topic that I'm writing about? What am I discussing? What am I trying to convince you of? If you give your essay to 3-4 people, then hopefully you have a few friends out there that'll take a few minutes to read it over, and then they can say, well, I think that you're talking about whether or not it's better to eat at home or in restaurants. Then you know that you've written a good essay, okay? But if the person says, well, I think you're talking about people's eating habits, it's too general. Then you can be like, it's actually more specific than that. And if they're talking about, well, there's a growing popularity of restaurants and people aren't eating at home anymore, so that's why, then you're like, that's not really what I'm talking about, okay? So is that clear? I mean, I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but is that clear for everyone what I'm saying with this? Okay, and I'll look at a few more backgrounds. It's just an important point because, again, it's one of the most common mistakes that happen to students who have good English. So your English is good, you have solid vocabulary and your grammar is good for the most part, but if your essay's off, then it's hard to get a good mark, okay? You don't need perfect vocabulary and grammar, but you do need perfect ideas, okay? So I think this is a really important point to kind of emphasize for everyone, is that having perfect or having awesome vocabulary and grammar is not nearly as important as having awesome content and structure. Okay? So always focus on content and structure, right? Right? Okay, so let's take a look here. A couple more. So selecting a place for cooking and consuming. whether for convenience or enjoyability, is important because the ritual of preparing and eating food is necessary for survival and social needs on a daily basis. Okay, Ois, I think you're on the right track. Careful not to become repetitive with the thesis, but you're definitely, it's in the right direction. Bharat says, it is true that home-made nutrients develop social and physical bonds for the individual. The fresh atmosphere, clearness, and best places increases the desire of preparing and digesting food. Bharat, you're writing body paragraph information in your introduction. Rajveer says, individuals have a variety of venues, such as restaurants, cafes, including their homes, to prepare and eat a variety of food, which has a significant impact on their social interactions. Very good, Rajveer. So Rajveer has a very good focus on defining what we're talking about, right? So basically, if I'm the reader and I don't know this question, and Rajveer just gives me his essay and says, Adrian, what am I talking about in my writing? Then I can say, well, first of all, I can see that you're talking about different locations where people consume and prepare food. And then you can say, yeah, that's exactly it. That's what the question's saying, right? And then Rajveer can ask me, and why is it important to talk about this? And I can say, well, it's because obviously you think that this has an influence on our social interactions, and then you're on the right path, okay? Mahmoud says, I have a question about the meaning of the hook in the background. Is it the main idea? Mahmoud, the hook introduces the main idea. The background defines the main idea and gives the importance of it. That's it in a nutshell. Okay, one more time, Mahmoud. So the hook introduces the main idea. The main idea is the topic. Okay, let's call it the topic. It's a better way to define it than main idea. It's the topic. So the hook introduces the topic. It grabs the attention of the reader. And the background defines the topic according to the writer. So what are we really talking about? And gives the importance of the question, why we're discussing this topic. Okay, and then comes the thesis, which is introducing the argument, the controlling ideas. Okay. That's standard English essay writing. I think sometimes when people watch these classes, I got an email the other day like, is this your method of writing essays? And I'm kind of like, no. I did not invent how to write an introduction. It's been around for a long time. If you take high school, grade 11, grade 12, first year English Lit, you learn these exact steps to persuasive essays, okay? So, let's see. Vishnu, I don't see your hook. Just send it to me by email and I'll check it out, okay? All right, okay, so I'm going to show you what I have for my introduction and then we'll get right into the body paragraph writing here nice and quick, okay? Here we go, okay? Yeah, Carolina just suggested an idea that we can make a group and give feedback on papers, so do peer review on papers. That's a really good idea. Okay, so here we go. The ritual of eating is of fundamental importance to people. Nowadays, individuals have a choice to eat homemade meals, order in, or go out to restaurants. Okay, so I'm simplifying. You eat homemade meals, so something you made at home. You order food to your house, or you go out to a restaurant. That's kind of the three types of categories that we do for consuming food. People's dietary habits. Let me make sure that I have my possessive. It's a long day for me yesterday. People's dietary habits of food source and venue have a significant impact on their quality of life. So here is my hook and my background. Notice how it's not that complicated. I am using some fairly good vocabulary like dietary habits, like fundamental, like ritual, okay? But overall, it's fairly straightforward and simple. So the ritual of eating is of fundamental importance to people. Nowadays, individuals have a choice to eat homemade meals, order in, or go out to restaurants. People's dietary habits of food source, so where the food comes from, and venue is the location, have a significant impact on their quality of life. So if you go out to McDonald's every day to eat food, it might not feel so good about yourself after a few years, okay? If you eat a nice homemade salad every day, that could be different. And then comes the thesis. I strongly believe that making and consuming food at home on a regular basis is better than eating out, as it leads to physical and social well-being for the individual and family. And well-being does not need that. Okay, there we go. All right. So there's my introduction, and that is just fine. Jaineel, this introduction, let me tell you exactly how many words it is. It's 76 words, okay, which is just fine. So, okay, somebody, by the way, Jaineel, somebody the other day, I remember wrote a comment like, your introduction is longer than your body paragraph. That's wrong. No, there's no rule that a body paragraph has to be longer than an introduction. In fact, often in writing, you'll have an introduction that's longer than several body paragraphs in the essay. Okay, so that's not a logical rule. There's no such rule that an introduction has to be shorter than a body paragraph. That's not the logic of argument or of communication. It's not based on a word count. Okay, all right. There isn't a maximum word count, Bharat, for the introduction. Again, it really depends on the question, okay? I would say for IELTS, you generally want to keep it no more than 80 words, okay? So I would limit roughly to 80. If you're going over 80 words in the introduction for the IELTS Task 2, you're probably not being as concise as you should be, okay? But again, there's no word limit. Like some people think, oh, I can only write 30 words for the introduction. Says who? If somebody tells you that, they're completely out to lunch. There's no word limit for an introduction. Okay. All right. So let's do body paragraph 1, topic sentence. Topic sentence is about physical well-being when preparing food at home. Okay. So you write your topic sentence, I'm going to write my topic sentence, and then we'll compare. If you have questions, ask me. I'm going to move along nice and smooth so we really can get to the essay. I think a lot of you now know the structure. For those who don't worry about it. You'll get the hang of it. Let's do this together. So I'm going to write a topic sentence. Topic sentence always comes from your thesis point 1. So physical well-being for eating at home. Okay? All right. So All right. Okay, let's see. Rajveer says, although individuals eat healthy dishes at restaurants, people have better control of ingredients and the cooking process when they prepare and consume homemade meals. Yeah, Rajveer, that's great. I was kind of thinking what you wrote there as well, Rajveer, but then I was like, I might save that for my explanation a little bit, the ingredients. That's why I was taking a second to think, because I'm really careful, Rajveer, to especially for the IELTS, to have very clear separation of a deeper definition and then an explanation and then an example. And I thought if I start talking about ingredients and the actual process of preparing, so being hygienic and so on, but it's arguable, Rajveer, so you might be able to do more explanation there as well. Okay, it just kind of depends on your thinking and writing style. So you're not off, but you're kind of combining a bit of explanation. As long as you're aware of that, it's okay. By the way, you can do that, students, where your topic sentence and your explanation are connected in a more complex, longer sentence, okay? OS says people preparing and having food in their kitchen decreases the risks of common diseases, and they maintain fitness and healthier bodies. Okay, OS, I like it. Yeah. I like how you included the idea of lowers the chance of illness. Instead of disease, OS, I would say illness, because disease is something that you contract, like a bacteria or virus. But from food, it's not necessarily a virus or a bacteria, but it could be just food poisoning, right? Spoiled food. So illness, OS. So OS, I would say preparing and having food in one's own kitchen lowers the risks of illness and helps maintain a fit and healthy body. Okay, definitely a good topic sentence though, OS. Okay, right idea. Okay, Ali says, one of the many important influences of cooking and eating at home on people is that they can maintain their physical health in a more controllable approach. Ali, very nice. That's a solid topic sentence. For Dobbs, having homemade dishes with family at home is better for people as they can control ingredients. For Dobbs, good. You're kind of leading into explanation like Rajveer did. Okay. Yeah, Kyber, if you're not clear on the topic sentence, just send me an email. But like I said, Kyber, the topic sentence is simply a deeper definition of your thesis point 1, okay, for the first body paragraph. For the second one, it's for the second. Mahmoud says, eating food at home gathers the family and has a lot of benefits. For example, at home, we can control ingredients. Okay, Mahmoud, good. Take out the word our and us, so don't bring your reader into this essay. Okay. Yes, in some essays you can do that in university or college, but I don't recommend doing it on the IELTS. It can get confusing. So keep this ambiguous second person voice like our and us out of it, okay? Also, Mahmoud, don't use for example in your topic sentence. It's awkward. It's too quick. Your example will come later. So when you say for example in a topic sentence, it's kind of like, give me a bit of explanation before you give me any kind of example. Okay? All right. Abhishek says, foods which are prepared and consumed at home, foods that are. Okay, Abhishek, foods that are prepared and consumed at home instead of ordered from restaurants are healthier, more nourishing, and contain energy for the day. Okay, good. Bakrat, lowercase, please, okay? Otherwise, it sounds like you're shouting at me. So in English, we only actually write all uppercase when we're shouting at the reader. Okay, don't shout at me. All right. Bahrat, homemade meals contain a plethora of ingredients for developing human health as well as growth. Yeah, good, Bakrat. Lowercase. Okay. Rashika, the quality of meals is directly influenced people's physical health, and they tend to be better when prepared at home. Rashika, the end needs to be fixed. And it tends to be better when prepared at home, or this tends to be better. Okay, good. So meals prepared at home are usually healthier than those made in restaurants and therefore support a better diet and physical development. Okay? So along the same lines, now we want to explain this. So what do you mean by that? So what do you mean they're healthier? And what do you mean that they support a better diet? Okay, why is that? Okay, why is that? Now, a lot of you said because they control the ingredients, visualize here. So explanation comes next. I'm going to write the explanation. You write the explanation, and then we'll compare. Here we go. Okay, so hygienic. Okay. So I'm just kind of putting along here. And I'm visualizing, of course, right? Restaurants prepare meals in large quantities. They are often in a rush to get food to the table. At home, people tend to take their time a little bit more. They're not as much in a rush. They pay attention to selecting the ingredients, and we see all that, right? So Rashika says people have a great chance to include a very nutritious foods and take a well-balanced diet as their desire when preparing foods at home. This dietary habit is assisted to stay physically fit. Okay, good. So I'm definitely seeing some good explanations here. Here's my explanation. So meals that are made in one's own kitchen are prepared in small quantities rather than in bulk, and the ingredients are carefully selected from markets for quality and taste. In addition, the cooking environment is hygienic to ensure that the individual and family are both satisfied with meals and kept from any potential food-related illness. Okay, now my example, right? For instance, my mother regularly buys organic ingredients from the local farm market and makes incredibly healthy meals that have helped me to grow into a strong and healthy adult. This is one of two reasons that homemade food is preferable to eating out. Okay, so simple connecting, concluding sentence there. All right. Okay, so there's my topic sentence, explanation, example. I'm using the first person voice. Why? Because I use the first person voice in my thesis. My thesis shows the voice of my essay, okay? So I strongly believe, or I believe if I go off of what Jainil said yesterday, okay? Abhishek says every human needs a specific amount of nutrition to function well, okay? Abhishek, not bad. You had some good ideas there. You retracted. I started correcting, so next time, okay? Mahmoud says homemade meals are most of the time are healthy because at home people can control the ingredients and make food fully in control. Okay. Janil says those who prepare and eat foods at home can make their dishes according to their taste, such as adding a spoon of chili pepper to curry and more hygienic instead of preparing at restaurants. Yeah, so making those gentle comparisons. Good. Let's see who else is still writing. I really appreciate it. I know some of you are like, oh, Adrian's really picking up speed here, but I am looking back at what you're writing. Okay. So don't give up. Keep writing. All right. Okay. So, let's see. So the second point is social, the social well-being, right? So the social well-being of eating at home, okay? So it's better for our communication, our personal development with our families. All right, so let's do a topic sentence about that. Let's keep going a little bit. Let's see how far we can get, okay? All right. All right. So a second reason that consuming food daily around the, well, I'm going to take out that family just so I don't have around the dining room table at home is better, is that it contributes to the mental and emotional stability and communication of family members. Okay? And then we want to explain that. So let's explain what we mean by that. Okay? All right. So here is my explanation. When we're eating at home, we have the privacy of our home, we have the comfort of our home, and that gives us the ability to interact more meaningfully, more deeply, right? So eating at home gives individuals both privacy and comfort. Now, not only eating, so if I'm really taking my time here, I would also include preparing food. So eating at home gives individuals both privacy and comfort that is unattainable in restaurants, and they can express their problems and personality so that they can form deep, meaningful relationships with siblings, parents, and spouses, okay? How am I doing that? I'm visualizing it. Remember what I've said before, students, that you can think from top down and down up as well. Okay, so here I'm also starting this idea not from here, but I'm starting it from here. I'm actually thinking about myself sitting around my dining room table and talking to my wife and my daughter, or when I was younger, to my parents and my brothers about what happened with me during the day, what were my challenges, what were my triumphs, and then being closer to them through that communication, okay? So I'm actually doing a down-up type of processing here. Does everybody remember, or some students who have been with me a longer time, remember this strategy of thinking down-up and up-down, okay? And I see Mahmoud's kind of going that way. Al-Rahal. At home, when the family has their meal, children can communicate better with their fathers and mothers, and their fathers can speak and hear their children's problems as well. Very good, Mahmoud. So you're probably visualizing that, right? Okay, good. So Janil Rajveer Khyber says, yes, sir. So remember that. So think about that, right? So here, you'll see that my example is going to be very quick because I've actually thought about that before I started writing this. I was a little bit slower here, and the reason why I was slower here is because I was thinking more about this as I was thinking about this part first that I'm going to write now, okay? So, okay. So there you go. There's the example, okay? All right. So I have a very strong bond with my father because growing up, I always had a chance to tell him my daily triumphs and tribulations around the dinner table at home, such as winning or losing a game of basketball in high school. This would have been difficult to do if my father had been taking us out to eat all the time. Okay, so there's that example that backs up that social development. All right, the conclusion. I'm going to have to rip through this pretty fast just so I can get it done in time, but bear with me. I do want to show you the whole essay here, okay, from start to finish. So Okay. So it took me about 2 minutes, but definitely take a little bit longer in the IELTS, review it. So in conclusion, the custom of eating, specifically the place of cooking and consuming meals, is best done at home. The reason I'm in strong favor of this notion is that nutrition should be considered strongly in light of physical and social wellness first and foremost. It is therefore advisable that each individual take this into consideration when forming their regular daily eating customs and location for food. Okay, watch my verb modifiers. So, and choice of location. All right. Okay, so here we go from the top. Always review your essays. Let's do this. Here we go. So the ritual of eating is of fundamental importance to people. Nowadays, individuals have a choice to eat homemade meals, order in, or go out to restaurants. People's dietary habits of food source and venue have a significant impact on their quality of life. I strongly believe that making and consuming food at home on a regular basis is better than eating out, as it leads to physical and social well-being for the individual and family. Meals prepared at home are usually healthier than those made in restaurants and therefore support a better diet and physical development. Meals that are made in one's own kitchen are prepared in small quantities rather than in bulk, and the ingredients are carefully selected from markets for quality and taste. In addition, the cooking environment is hygienic to ensure that the individual and family are both satisfied with meals and kept from any potential food-related illness. For instance, my mother regularly buys organic ingredients from the local farm market and makes incredibly healthy meals that have helped me grow into a strong and healthy adult. This is one of two reasons that homemade food is preferable to eating out. A second reason that consuming food daily around the dining room table at home is better is that it contributes to the mental and emotional stability and communication of family members. Eating at home gives individuals both privacy and comfort that is unattainable in restaurants, and they can express their problems and personality so that they can form deep, meaningful relationships with siblings, parents, and spouses. I have a very strong bond with my father because growing up I always had a chance to tell him my daily triumphs and tribulations around the dinner table at home, such as winning or losing a game of basketball in high school. This would have been difficult to do if my father had been taking us out to eat all the time. In conclusion, the custom of eating, specifically the place of cooking and consuming meals, is best done at home. The reason I'm in strong favor of this notion is that nutrition should be considered strongly in light of physical and social wellness first and foremost. It is therefore advisable that each individual take this into consideration when forming their regular daily eating customs and choice of location for food. Okay, so that is the full essay. It reads well. If I spent a few more minutes on this, I'd make it a bit more concise. I'm way out of time, everyone, but that's okay. I really wanted to get this done with you. Thank you for bearing with me, and thank you for the great effort that you put in. Hopefully that made sense. So I know that there's a lot of information in these writing classes. Again, it's a good idea to go back, watch these videos once or twice, all right, just to pick up all of those tips, strategies, practice. For everybody watching, you can check out more writing tips and help in our premium package at aehelp.com for academic IELTS and glshelp.com for general. Yeah, great job, everyone. Thanks, Carolina, for pointing that out. It really was a fantastic effort by a lot of our members today. So nicely done. Keep it up. And Carolina, that peer review group idea was very good. So let's try to facilitate that, okay? Carolina, can you send me an email about that idea as well, the peer-reviewed writing, and I'll see what I can do to set it up on my end also, all right? Okay, everyone, 30 minutes, less than 30 minutes now, I will host another class that will be Task 1 pie charts. So see you soon for that. I'll switch and set up for that. And that's it for now. I'm Adrian signing out from Europe. See you shortly. Bye.